CBS presents this program in color.
From Philharmonic Hall in Lincoln Center, home of the world's greatest musical events, another program of New York Philharmonic Young People's Concerts, under the musical direction of Leonard Bernstein. This award-winning series is brought to you by AT&T and the Bell System Associated Companies. And here is Leonard Bernstein.
Greetings, dear young friends. Once again, the year has swung around to that happy time when we have our annual Young Performers Concert, presenting the outstanding youthful performing talent that we can find. And every year, I am staggered all over again by the musical gifts to be found among the young in our land, gifts which seem to increase not only in quantity, but in quality. And one reason for this is surely the new attitude Americans have toward music. America is now ready to accept music as a normal and even admirable activity of the young. Times have certainly changed since I was a young performer. I can remember when I was a kid going through agonies of being tortured by the other kids simply because I loved music. When I used to leave my post at first base to run home and practice the piano, they thought I was out of my mind. Even adults regarded me as some kind of nut. But all that seems to be over now. These days, a boy can play Bach and play baseball, and no one will bat an eye. America seems to be growing up. One trouble we still have, though, is that most young musicians seem to gravitate toward the piano. You may have noticed over the years that most of the young performers we have presented here are pianists. Pianists seem to grow like ragweed in our country, and so do players of band instruments like the clarinet and the trumpet, and so, of course, do drummers, and needless to say, the countless experts on the electronic guitar. Well, these are all popular instruments that we're not going to hear on this program. No pianists, no electric guitars. I think it's much more interesting to see what instruments are not so popular with the American young people and bring you some living examples of these exceptional cases. I think you'll be fascinated by what we've come up with. It turns out that the most neglected area of instrumental playing is that of stringed instruments, which is a shame. I mean, where are the replacements for all these fine artists going to come from? And that's why we were so pleasantly surprised at our auditions to see so many fine young string players turn up. And then when an oboe player turned up, and then a bassoon player as well, I got the idea of putting them together with some string players and having them all participate in a marvelous big piece by Haydn, which is for orchestra and 4 soloists, a violin, a cello, an oboe, and a bassoon. No piano, no drums, no electric guitar. Now this work of Haydn's is in 3 movements and is called Sinfonia concertante, which sounds like a hard phrase, but it isn't. Sinfonia, of course, is symphony in Italian, and concertante simply means concerted, in concert, that is different groups playing together, the solo group and the orchestral group. Sinfonia concertante, it's really simple. Now let me introduce to you the 4 gifted young soloists. The oldest is 20 years of age, and the youngest a mere 13. I think you will be amazed, as we were, at how professionally and beautifully they play. Here first is our violin soloist from Waterbury, Connecticut, 16-year-old Elmar Oliveira. And now our oboe soloist, you're not going to believe this, 13-year-old Mark Solkin from San Francisco. And now our bassoon soloist, 19-year-old Fred Alston from Philadelphia. And finally, our cellist from New Haven, Connecticut, 20-year-old Donald Green. And now, right on to this lovely Haydn symphony. To conduct the first movement, we have a brilliant young man from the far-off land of Chile, Juan Pablo Izquierdo by name, who is one of our assistant conductors this season here at the Philharmonic. Here is Mr. Izquierdo, and here is the first movement of Haydn's Sinfonia concertante in B-flat major. Aren't they marvelous? I'm sure you've all noticed that up to now, all our young guest artists have been male, and that will be true of all the other soloists we are to hear on this program. I think this is the first time in all our years of young people's concerts that we have had an all-male cast, but we do have one important exception, and that is our next conductor. This is really unusual, a female conductor. And what is even more unusual is that she's so good. Miss Sylvia Cadouf comes to us from Switzerland and is also one of our Philharmonic assistants. Like Mr. Izquierdo, she was chosen through the Dimitri Metropolis competition that's held each year, out of which we pick our assistants for each new season. So all hail the eternal feminine, and let us welcome Sylvia Cadouf, who will conduct the second and third movements of this Haydn masterpiece. Miss Cadouf. marvelous people, aren't they? Our next soloist is 19 years old, is equally marvelous, comes from Trumbull, Connecticut, very musical state, Connecticut, this season. It's our third man from Connecticut, and his name is Stephen Domingo. His instrument is one that is really rarely taken up by American youngsters, especially in a serious way. It's that old-time favorite, the accordion. But the way Mr. Domingo handles this old picnic and campfire instrument is simply astonishing. He makes a whole new experience out of it. Of course, his accordion isn't just that old wheeze box we remember from vaudeville days. It's a magnificent and rare Italian instrument with a range of 5 octaves, a marvelous singing tone, and all kinds of extras. The main trouble with the accordion, apart from the prejudice we all may have against it as a corny instrument, is that so little really good music has ever been written for it. Accordionists usually have to play transcriptions of pieces written for other instruments, which indeed is what Mr. Domingo is going to do now. In fact, a piano concerto. Believe it or not, he actually plays the Chopin second piano concerto in F minor on his accordion, and how he plays it. We're going to hear him now playing the last movement. Now, I've watched him do this, I've listened carefully, and I promise you I don't know how he does it. It's just phenomenal. But then Mr. Domingo is an extraordinary fellow in many ways. His interests run all the way from the accordion to tropical fish and sports car racing and hunting and karate. What a boy. He will be accompanied in the Chopin by Miss Sylvia Cadouf, and here they are. At this point in our Ed Sullivan show, we come to a young artist whose instrument is really unusual for an American youngster, his very own voice. Now, of course, we all know lots of kids who sing, but they sing either in glee clubs or choruses or just for fun or in rock and roll groups. But how many young men of 21 can you think of who are serious singers? And what makes this young man even more unusual is that he is a bass, a real low basso. And bassos are never 21. They usually get that way as they grow older. But George Reed is a genuine basso. However, having been a history major in college, he has only recently turned to music, and so has studied voice for only 2 years. But he already sounds like the real thing. And by the way, he studies at the Mannes College of Music here in New York, as does our cellist, Mr. Green, and our accordionist, Mr. Domingo. Good school. Mr. Reed is going to sing for us that beautiful little aria, In diesen heiligen Hallen, from Mozart's opera, The Magic Flute. Here's our young basso, accompanied by Mr. Izquierdo. Every once in a while, we come across a young artist for whom the ordinary words of praise just don't suffice. Talented, usual, unusual, fiery, profound, not enough. You have to resort to that much abused word, genius. And our next and final soloist is a genius, and that's not a word I use lightly. He's a 19-year-old violinist from Korea named Young-uk Kim, young in name as well as in age, who was discovered in Korea by the great pianist Rudolf Serkin, who had him brought to this country to study at the Curtis Institute in Philadelphia, my old school, I'm proud to say. And Mr. Kim has already made smashing appearances with orchestra and has gobbled up prizes, including the first prize in last year's Merriweather Post competition, sponsored by the National Symphony Orchestra in Washington. When he plays the violin, as you're about to hear, he is performing an act of total living, total absorption. Everything is blotted out for him and for us except this one musical experience. What he's going to play for us is the passionately lyrical first movement of Saint-Saëns' Violin Concerto in B minor, and it will be an honor for me to conduct for him. Here is Young-uk Kim.
From Philharmonic Hall in Lincoln Center, the season's second New York Philharmonic Young People's Concert under the musical direction of Leonard Bernstein has presented young performers. Juan Pablo Izquierdo and Sylvia Kaduf conducted Haydn's Sinfonia concertante, featuring Elmar Oliveira, violin, Mark Sulkind, oboe, Fred Alston, bassoon, and Donald Green, cello. Stephen Domingo, accordionist, performed the finale of Chopin's Piano Concerto No. 2 in F minor, and George Reed sang an aria from Mozart's The Magic Flute. Young Uk Kim was soloist in Saint-Saëns Violin Concerto No. 3 in B minor, conducted by Mr. Bernstein. The next program in this series will be seen in 4 weeks on Thursday, February 23rd, when Mr. Bernstein's subject will be Charles Ives' American Pioneer. This program was recorded in Philharmonic Hall and was produced and directed by Roger Englander. The New York Philharmonic Young People's Concerts are brought to you by AT&T and the Bell System Associated Companies, who thank you for being with us tonight. Films of many of these concerts are available without charge to schools and other groups. For information, call your local Bell telephone business office.